Welcome back to our community. Susie Thomas visiting with Stephanie Libertor and Cleta Scarborough. They are here for the Hope for Deeper Healing Facilitators Training. Coming up when, Stephanie?
May 8th, 9th, and 10th.
So we've got time to put it on people's hearts. They can start praying about it, plant that little seed, and find out more about what this is all about to really get the people in those seats who are supposed to be there. First of all, welcome back, because you are not exactly new to pregnancy choices at all, but you are in a newly welcomed back role. So tell us a little bit about your role there now.
Well, I liked the lady of the house.
Yes. You are now the lady of the house.
The lady of the House of Hope, our fifth location at Pregnancy Choices. But I am so honored and privileged to be in that spot. I mean, talk about a sweet spot, and just my passion runs so deep for this type of ministry. What
did you do earlier, which is when you wrote Unbound? What was your official position at that time?
I was the Director of Client Services for over 12 years with Pregnancy Choices. So, I am no stranger, but man, I'm trying to find my legs and get my legs underneath me in this new spot. But
it just seems like you've been so prepared for it. And it's just kind of like the perfect thing to just step right into. You know, sometimes don't you feel like if God showed us everything all at once, we would just pass out? But a little taste at a time, kind of work our way there and say, oh, I see. He was getting me ready for this. I didn't know it at the time.
Exactly.
Is that kind of how you feel?
Yes.
Well, let's talk about Hope for Deeper Healing. This is a facilitator's training. Who goes? Who is invited to attend?
The facilitator's training is designed for women who feel called to help other women find healing. And so it could be other pregnancy centers. It could be women, your average woman who's maybe sitting in church and feeling like maybe, I need to go through some healing on my own first. This is kind of striking a nerve with me. Or feels like I've already had a lot of healing and I want to help. Help other women find that healing too.
For the person who does not have a good story of their own that they'd be able to share, yes, they could still participate in this, or maybe it's better if it's someone who can share something from their own past.
I feel that women need to be able to be vulnerable. If they can't open up with their story, then there's probably some healing that has to happen.
Because everybody's got one, right? Whether
Everybody's
or not they're
got
willing
one.
to say that we've all experienced loss of some kind. So even if the study that's right for you is refuge, that you've lost a relationship of some kind at some point and are still grieving that's for you, yes?
Refuge is a perfect, non-threatening way to find healing, and it often is the door opener for other things.
And then you step into, think, maybe I really ought to take this other as well. And then once you really know, when you're there. Cleta, how do we know, okay, my gosh, I'm healed?
I knew that I was healed when I could share my story without tears.
Yeah. Like you just did.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Well, isn't that something?
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. So you've been through Hope for Deeper Healing in the past.
I have.
Tell me about it. What's it like? What's it look like?
It's spending some time with a lot of other ladies that really all come together, like Stephanie said, wanting to be able to help another woman. And without the training, I don't think you'd be prepared to facilitate any of these classes because there is much to know. You're working with women who are wounded, and there's a certain protocol on how we go about things. And to make it that safe place, to make everybody comfortable, I learned so much personally. I learned how to be a better listener. I learned how to ask open-ended questions. I learned how to grieve with them when they grieved. I mean, we share tears. We share joy at the end, but there's times of tears getting there. So, yes, there's much to learn.
We're talking about people who are not certified counselors. They're not accredited. Maybe somebody is, but that's not what the requirement is.
Correct.
So you're dealing in some very deep personal issues. How do you do that? Some of that sounds a little scary, that somebody might really get triggered. How do you handle that?
Well, I want to say that that's true. We're not licensed counselors, but we're well trained. And it's God. We're not there to implement like something that a counselor might do. We are facilitating healing through a Bible study. And so I look at those two things very differently.
Right. This is not a counseling session.
It's not a
And
counseling
we want to make that clear. It's different than a counseling session.
Correct. And the women that come through our groups know that. That's a conversation that we have a couple of different times in the very beginning. Even when we first meet with them to do paperwork and stuff, they know that this is not a counseling session. We're trained to lead our groups, but that, and we actually endorse other counseling, and especially with sexual abuse, childhood sexual abuse. I want them to be working with the counselor as well as doing a Bible study.
Yeah, there's different kinds of healing, isn't there?
Yes.
And this, I'm going to guess this probably is the deeper one. Well, it is called Hope for Deeper Healing, because this really goes right to the crux of the issue.
Yes.
And then as far as emotional healing and so forth, that counselors are prepared to take you in, then they could step into that.
Correct.
So how many days and what takes place, and is it all real heavy, and do we expect to cry the whole time? But are there some lighter moments? Because so far I'm thinking, well, we're going to go get bummed out.
No, we try to make it fun. Yeah, there are some heavy moments because we're talking about heavy subjects. But there is a skit in the works.
Oh, dear.
I try to bring some levity whenever I can, because, life isn't, I don't want to cry the entire time. I want to laugh too.
Right.
And our lives should be a healthy balance of laughter and tears and being able to cry with one another, but also being able to laugh and tease one another.
Yes, and I think also that, like Stephanie had said earlier, in the groups, the ladies bond together. They find new friendships. They're talking about their lives, their daily lives, their comings and their goings, and sharing, and find those daily lives moments to laugh about. We've laughed a lot in this session. I will tell you that. It's been pure joy to watch these women be able to bond together and to be able to share good things and to laugh.
How does having gone through this and now helping other women go through this as well, how does that go into your daily life? And I guess I'll throw that to both of you. You both have families. How does that impact your family life?
For me, it's having a husband that's gracious enough to allow me that small time slot once a week when we meet, and the rest of it is in my daily prayer. It's in my time with the Lord and covering them and myself as well, so I don't think that it's that it takes much away from my daily life. Plus,
Do you think it adds to it?
I think it adds to it because, yes, I have a passion for it. So I feel like it's a beautiful thing that I get to do, that God allows me to do. It's a path that He's taken me down. And I just honestly can't imagine myself in any other ministry. And I've been in a few. But this is definitely the one that's captured my heart. And I think it's because you can relate. Brokenness relates to brokenness, and healing relates to healing. So it's perfect for me.
Man, if we could all keep our kids from learning things the hard way, right? Stephanie, how about you as a mom? How does this impact your motherhood? And
let me tell you, because of leading these groups for more than 12 years, I have to say that there is nothing taboo with me and my children, that I can have very candid conversations about sex and sexuality, and I won't get embarrassed. And so that's been a huge benefit for me because I didn't have that growing up. So being able to talk about this kind of thing with my parents, or not with my parents, but with my children, especially in this day and age,
right.
I think there's power in that.
They are faced with so many messages that would be contrary to the messages we would want them to receive. And so many messages that completely go against what you've been trying to instill in them from a very, very early age. But you just go to, I mean, any TV show, any movie, pretty much is not going to say the sex is an awesome thing created by God to take place between two married individuals. That's just not the message that's out there. And you seem a little square if that's what you're purporting. To be able to have that kind of relationship with your children, to say that marriage and them think you're cool and them listen. And
I didn't say they think I'm cool.
Well, they better. Because let me just give a message to your kids. You got the cool mom. So if you go against her, it's you that looks like a goof. Okay? We'll just say that.
Hey, they're embarrassed half the time, when I try to bring something like this up. But now it's to the point, at least with my daughter, that I don't think she blushes anymore with conversations. But
you see them taking it to heart.
Yes.
They're not just rolling their eyes saying, oh, you are so yesterday.
Right. Well, they might think that. I don't know.
Well, you can sure, when you listen and do it God's way, you sure spare yourself a lot of grief, don't you?
Yes, and you wouldn't believe the women, and I know Stephanie's probably heard the same thing, that once they go through the part on intimacy and purity and how what sex was created to be, share that with their kids. For them to come back and say, you know what, I talked to my daughter and I shared this, because they don't know. They know what the world says. They know what the culture says. But a lot of them don't. I mean, a lot of the women that are coming through are just finding out, what God's plan is for sex. So that's a beautiful thing in itself.
Who thought we'd ever have to take it down to, okay, we're talking about a man and a woman, and they're married. And, it seems like we have to really get down to ridiculous brass tacks these days. But you kind of do. So this all takes place when, again, May 8th through 10th. And somebody, I'm sure, is listening going, yeah, I think this is really what I'm supposed to do. So what do they do from here? What's the next step to take?
I think there's two different people that might be out there. First, there's the one who says, I think I'm the one that needs healing. And she needs to, or he, but she needs to contact Pregnancy Choices. And you can reach us over on the internet and see all of our healing classes. And then we can make a one-on-one appointment to talk about, what group is right for her. So that's the first person that might be listening that knows she needs healing. And the second one is maybe I've had healing and I'm ready to take that next step.
Yeah.
And ready to take that next step just like Cleta did.
All the Cletas out there.
Yes. Who says that, like I want to put this, I want my pain to have purpose. And so she wants to do this training, and it's the Hope for Deeper Healing, May 8th, 9th, and 10th. It's going to be at the New Point Community Church on Broadmoor Circle. But anyway, just call the center, call Pregnancy Choices, and get registered. But it's 3 full days of training to help her become a facilitator of these incredible healing groups.
Awesome. You have a phone number?
330-455-7500.
Awesome. All right. Well, I knew this would go way, way, way too fast, but we'll have to have you back, okay?
Susie, thank you for having us.
Stephanie Liberatore, Cleta Scarborough, thanks for all you do in our community.
Thank you.